Welcome to UCHL's for today's media luncheon. Players Matt Judon, offensive lineman Jim Walsh, and head coach Matt Mitchell. Coach, if you can talk about the Ashland win, and then we'll move on to the second round of the NCAA Playoffs game this Saturday at Ferris State.
Sure. Great job by our coaches and players on Saturday. You know, I mentioned that quite a bit after the first time we played Ashland. I didn't think we really played up to our potential, specifically on the defensive side of the ball, our red zone offense. We embraced those challenges as a team. You know, I thought our players came out. They had a lot of edge. They understood what was at stake, and their attack and their approach throughout the week of practice showed up on Saturday. You know, defensively, we stopped the run, and I thought the first time around we did a good job of stopping that until late, but we stopped the run. And you know, I think the biggest difference this game was just the effect that we had on the quarterback, both from some coverage variations and also some pressure. We hit the quarterback quite a bit. And, you know, the first time we played him, we struggled to get off the field on third down, and we did a great job on third and fourth down, you know, this time around with them. And that just really set up a lot of great field position and helped out our offense, you know, a ton. And, you know, played well. You know, all of our guys at all three levels, our D-line, linebackers, secondary, I think all played well. They played with a lot of emotion and helped us definitely in that first quarter when we were turning the ball over, getting those 3 picks. And setting up our first score. Our defense set up the first score by giving our offense the ball on the 2-3 yard line. Just, you know, was huge. So, you know, just a great reaction response by those guys. Offensively, you know, the first time around we didn't really run it effectively, and part of that is we were chasing the scoreboard a little bit. But we knew heading into that game we needed to make a conscious effort to try to get Kirk Spencer and Martavius Carter involved in the football game. And so it helped that we had a lead. It helped that we got that lead, especially in the second quarter and the third quarter and obviously into the fourth. But, you know, we had way more explosive runs than we'd had the previous couple weeks. You know, I think our guys up front accepted the challenge on the offensive line, and I also thought our backs ran incredibly hard. And we're breaking tackles and we're playing well. So, you know, the interceptions by Bart, that's 2 weeks in a row. We've thrown some picks. That's concerning. You know, we've got to make sure that we get that cleaned up. You know, on one of them, I thought their defender made a hell of a play. The other two, especially the last one, those are some rookie moments showing there just in terms of his decision with the football. So we got to get that cleaned up. We're not going to be able to afford 3 picks this Saturday. So, you know, on special teams, I thought our special teams was good. We had great kick coverage, which helped out our defense immensely, and you know, played well in the kicking game. We did miss a field goal. I probably put Joel out there a little bit too far away, but other than that, we played well. So, you know, I can't say enough about the experiences that we gained with that victory. The fact that we, you know, had lost those guys and came back and beat them and did it in a playoff type game, I think it's huge. You know, I've got some 2 guys sitting next to me, some other seniors that were involved a couple years ago, but we still have a lot of guys that had never been in that environment. You know, Bart Williams as our quarterback, never been there. You know, you got a freshman tailback. You know, Matt Williams wasn't here 2 years ago. He transferred in. Last year was his first year. Starting a freshman at tackle, playing a freshman at the other tackle, sophomore starting tight end. You know, a lot of the guys on defense, we only have 2 seniors on defense. A lot of guys that are out there defensively, you know, weren't in that mix a couple years ago. So it just provides a tremendous amount of playoff, those experiences. It's going to help us. It's going to help us, you know, this year, and I think it'll definitely help our program moving forward that those guys were involved in that type of football game, were involved in that situation where we had to, you know, make some adjustments and bounce back. And the whole approach, the week of practice, the game, those are just invaluable experiences for all the players in our program, and I think will help us moving forward. So, you know, heading into Saturday, this is another chance to play somebody that we lost to earlier in the season. I think this is a little different than the previous one from a couple standpoints. First of all, that contest we played Saturday was 3 weeks removed. This contest here will be, you know, 10, 11 weeks, whatever it is, removed from the other game. So, you know, I think a lot of things have happened since then. Things have changed for us. I think we've progressed in some areas and know a little bit better where we are than maybe when we played them game 3. At the end of the day, they're really good. There's a reason that they're undefeated. They have a lot of talent on both sides of the ball, and they effectively use that talent. And you know, I could go on for a long period of time, but I would imagine most people that are watching this press conference are pretty familiar with the names up at Ferris State and the players, and obviously Jason Vanderlaan and Jake Lampman and a lot of the guys, Justin Zimmer. You're very familiar with them, and they've been consistent throughout the course of the year, and they're a very balanced football team. This is not a team that has a deficiency on one side of the ball or the other, and they're extremely productive. So it's a big challenge for us, heading up to their place and playing them. But at the same time, I think our guys are excited. Like I said last week, it's kind of rare that you get an opportunity to play somebody again. And when you lost, it's helpful as a coach to be able to put on the tape and kind of take a look at the things you didn't do well, you did do well, and continue to try to make progress. So anytime we're playing football, Thanksgiving weekend, it's a unique opportunity. Obviously, we're excited about this game. This is our rival. This is the first time that Grand Valley and Ferris State have ever met in the playoffs. There's a lot of backstory here heading into this game like there was week 3, and it just all intensifies given the circumstances surrounding the contest and the nature of the playoffs and how things work within Division II. So we'll get to work this week. We'll take a look at them. They're very good, and we'll put together a plan. And I know our guys will be emotionally and physically and mentally ready to play on Saturday, and we'll get them out there. Questions?
Jim, if you could address just the offensive line, it appeared to have maybe one of your best days of the season. Was that something you saw coming? Has the progression gone that way through the season?
Yeah, I mean, we've been working to clean up things every week, trying to get better every week. And this week, we had heard a lot from the coaching staff about our run game troubles the previous time we played Ashland, and we were angry. It was a long week in the meeting room, and I think we really felt like we had something to prove to our coaches and our whole team that we're better than what we showed last time we played them.
Matt, can you talk a little bit about your ability to roll guys, especially defensively, into the game and be effective? I noticed a couple of drives in the second half. You started with Judon and DJ both on the sideline and then got them into the game. And also, can you talk about the effect that the availability of Schlosser will have for your team defensively?
Sure. I think we have to continue to recruit. We continue to have depth at the defensive line with the expectation that we have of those guys in terms of their effort and their energy and how physical and being everything. We've got to be able to have guys. I look back upon the earlier in the season, specifically ODU. I think Matt probably played. We played him too many snaps in that football game. And it's very difficult to play at the level he needs to play at to be consistent through 80 plus snaps. And so all those guys, we feel like it's in our best interest as a football program and our defense's best interest to rotate them through and have them fresh, especially heading into third and fourth quarters in these tight playoff games. And I think the reason we're able to do that is because we've built depth. Dylan Carroll probably, last time we were watching the tape this morning, Dylan Carroll really as a freshman, he didn't play necessarily very well at Ferris State the first time around. He's improved tremendously over the course of time. We're getting more productive play out of Mark Rosenquist, was a transfer inside, and Sonny Haskins that we're trusting those guys to be able to play more. Christian Harris is another name of a guy that was injured, and is coming back off injury, and Cody Moore and Keon Belcher, who's also, very young player in our program. So, the three upperclassmen with Alton Voss, Matt Judon, and DJ Hogan, they played a lot of football, and we got to be careful about them. And I think, in that particular game, we were backed up. We kind of gave those guys a little bit of a breath, and if they started to threaten us a little bit more, then we put those guys back in fresh. In regards to Colin Schlosser, he on that fourth down play, there was a targeting penalty and was ejected. We sent in our TV copy and some other clips to the NCAA early Sunday morning, and the NCAA reviewed that call and reversed it. So they reversed the call. So he does not have to sit out the first half of a Ferris game and is available to play the entire football game on Saturday.
Matt, coming from the perspective of a pass rusher, when you're up against a running quarterback, does that change anything about the way you go about what you do in the backfield?
No, I don't think so. I don't think we just got to be disciplined in our pass rush lanes, and that's with any quarterback, non-running quarterback or a running quarterback, or dual threat quarterback. You got to be on the back shoulder or front hip. Just depends what call is called, and you got to execute.
Coach and Matt can both address this. From just watching the last Ferris game, they appeared to have just great quickness. Are they one of the quicker teams you played all year, or is that just the way that game unfolded?
No, they are quick. I mean, they're good. I think that they have a combination of receivers that are excellent, that fit their scheme extremely well. They have two guys on the outside that can stretch the field and are also great blockers. That helps what they do. And then they have three inside guys at the slot receivers that are very active. So. They have a really good skill crew, specifically at the wide receiver position. They're very versatile at those positions, and those slot guys in that offense have always been and probably will be as long as Coach Anise is there, guys that are used both as running backs and receivers. And I think that was a reflection when you look at some of the guys that they put up all conference. They put up some of those slot guys more as running backs, because that's what they do, and that's what hurt us last year. The one-on-one matchups that sometimes that option-based offense forces you to get into. Well, last time we played them, their kids beat our kids in some of those one-on-one matchups, and but it's hard to get away from that. At some point, with the nature of the style of offense, you're going to get some one-on-one situations, and kids got to make plays.
Coach and Jim, could you talk a little bit about the front that they used, especially in the second half? They had their defensive linemen walking around a lot and trying to get a pass rush, trying to confuse the offensive line, and it seemed to play to your advantage more because you kept the quarterback clean, and it didn't seem like they were able to stop the push that you had with your running game once they went to that.
Yeah, I don't know if I can comment on what their thought process was. I'd mentioned this with my thing I did with DJ Foster on Thursday on our website, that the last time we played them, I think it was unique about the Ashland game. Bart never touched the ground one time. They didn't get pressure on him. So, I'm a career defensive guy. I'd be looking at that tape and a sophomore quarterback, and I'd try to find a way to get shots on him and try to hit him and try to affect him. And, I guess I'm going to speculate that maybe was one of their ways, trying to use that deal to try to create some confusion, try to create our guys up front some confusion, and try to attempt to get a little bit more pressure on the quarterback. But, I don't know exactly why, but, we hadn't seen that on any tape, hadn't seen anything what happened. I thought our offensive line coach, I thought all of our coaches handled that extremely well. And we're pretty resilient when that was something we hadn't really practiced at all. In both games, I thought they handled it pretty well. But I'll let Jim take over there and what he was seeing on the field from that.
Yeah, I mean, they got the guys walking around, but at the end of the day, we've seen enough tape. We know what guys are supposed to be where, and they get back to their spots they're supposed to be right when the ball snaps. So it's really not as confusing as they think it might be for us. But it's just, as long as you're disciplined, it's not hard to figure out what they're doing.
Coach, from a coaching perspective, do you and your staff enjoy the opportunity to game plan against a team you've already seen? Do you look at it in a different light or anything along those lines?
Well, if I didn't, I probably shouldn't be the coach. If I didn't enjoy it, we do enjoy it. I think we enjoy challenges. This is certainly a challenge. I mean, we're not. At the end of the day, you appreciate moments like this as a coach when you get to go out and play in games like this. Games where you head in, you watch the tape, and there's a pretty high percentage of victory. I'm not sure those are fun games to play always necessarily all the time. I mean, maybe for somebody that's just looking for easy wins, but these are challenges that we look forward to. I know, on the bus ride home, we were excited that we, as a staff and our players, were excited that we had won, but we were already talking there. I ride on the defensive bus, the defensive guy. We were already starting to talk about some of the things that, and the troubles we've had with Ferris and the offense and, what we could potentially do. It already started the minute we got on that bus and we knew that we were going to play them. Your mind starts clicking in as a coach and trying to figure things out. So, if you're scared about these opportunities, you should probably get out of the profession, because at some point, if you're going to achieve at a high level, you're going to encounter these.
Matt Judon, can you talk about Evander Laan and the problems he poses for a defense?
I mean, looking at the stats, he's just a good quarterback. I think if his first and second read isn't there, he's tucking and running. And as you can see, he has no problem running the ball. He's top on their rushing list. I mean, he's a good player. and he fits the scheme very well for what they do. So we just gonna have to try to stop him as a defensive line and try to get hits on him.
You guys haven't been able to beat him yet. Does that add a little extra juice, or is it just playing Ferris and you don't get too caught up in the individual matchup?
It's the next game on our schedule. We didn't pick to play Ferris next, and they didn't pick to play us next. So it's just the next game on our schedule, and we're trying to go 1-0.
Okay, that'll conclude today's media luncheon. Thank you.